Catherine Boyle, the author of Hungry Souls, experienced anorexia and bulimia for many years. After overcoming her eating disorder, Catherine began a quest to learn God's position about this dangerous and life-threatening illness. What she found out is that the Bible contains specific scriptures, prophecies, miracles, symbolisms that explain the progression of the illness, as well as it contains a lot of answers of how to be set free. I'm reading a teleprompter, reading past some of my mistakes. Last night I was reading through your book, and I was just so fascinated. The time got away with me. It was really late. I thought, oh, I've got to type this intro into the teleprompter, so I had a couple of typos in there. But what a fascinating book.
Thank you.
You know, I had no idea that there were quite a number of references in the Bible to eating disorders, and there seems to be an explosion of eating disorders in America.
Yes,
So-
it's truly an epidemic. In fact, the current statistics say that there are about 17 million anorexics and 22 million bulimics in just the United States. So it's really, a very much an epidemic, but a hidden one.
Wow. Well, can you share a little bit more about your particular story and how you
Sure.
kind of got involved with anorexia and bulimia?
Well, like many women, my anorexia started after a catalyst that really set the whole thing in motion. I was not able to go away to college right out of high school. I had to go to community college for financial reasons, and that was just devastating to me. I had really lived my life for many years just looking forward to being able to go away to college. It was something that was a big prize in my life, and so it was just this devastating thing that happened. And pretty soon after, I knew I was going to have to go to the community college, I began losing a little bit of weight, and it just took off from there. And then I ended up being anorexic for about 2 years, and then shortly after that I became bulimic for a couple of years. But I also struggled for many years after that with what I call the eating disorder mindset, where really all my thoughts are still the same. It's just my actions, I wasn't actively anorexic and bulimic with my actions any longer.
Wow.
How are you able to break free? Because there are young people and older people watching where their life is literally hanging on the thread and they cannot break it. How are you able to break it?
God really set me free. I know it sounds very simplistic. It's not an easy thing. In fact, most people never recover. Most recoveries average 5 to 7 years. But when I got to a point in my life where I was just really at a place spiritually where I couldn't go anywhere but look up to God, and I finally just started really soaking myself in His Word, and He just poured so much into me. One day I just realized that I wasn't thinking the old way that I used to, after coming to Him with all that I was. And, He promises in His Word that He will totally change us. He will totally transform us by renewing our minds. And this isn't a one-day kind of thing. It's absolutely a process, and that was absolutely how it was for me. I realized one day, I woke up after I'd begun this process of really digging into His Word, and I thought, I don't flinch every time I walk by a mirror. I'm not thinking that I'm a failure today because I ate too many cookies. It was just totally gone.
Right. Can you just briefly just kind of go back for 1 second and talk a little bit more about that when you said the eating disorder mindset? Because I think what happens is a lot of women say, well, I'm not a rail, I'm not stick skinny, and I don't throw up. But it's a certain mindset that people have that really, I think, determines whether you have an eating disorder or not.
Yes, I really believe that too. It is truly just, having all of your thoughts and actions revolving around your size, your shape, your appearance, what you're eating, what you're not eating. It's all those things. If that's in the center of your life, then you have an eating disorder.
So really just food addiction. And maybe a lot of, because there seems to be an explosion of weight problems in Western society in particular, that underneath that could be a bulimic anorexia mindset, and we're calling it something else.
Right, it's a spiritual hunger. I mean, there is such a spiritual hunger in our culture right now, and in my book I say that I really believe that the issues with obesity that we have right now are really the opposite side of the same coin of anorexia and bulimia. It's just expressed a different way.
Now, you mentioned that anorexia and bulimia is in the Bible. So that really took me by surprise because I never knew that. Where is it mentioned?
Well, of course, those words are medical terms. So, you're not going to find those words in the Bible. But I really began thinking about this several years ago, and